Hi, I'm Jackie Rabbit. You know me. If you don't, get to know me. I'm here to support you. So, I had a video last time about hormones and what they've been doing for me, and I realized, oh my gosh, I skipped over so much stuff. Not the normal stuff. I skipped the normal stuff because everybody talks about it. But I want to talk to you about the stuff nobody talks about, the things that nobody would tell me about, the things that people laughed about after I asked them, hey, this just happened, what's that mean? So I'm going to share those things with you because nobody shared them with me. So I'm going to continue on with what hormones do to you, and I'm going to concentrate on what they do to your brain. Let's go talk about what that does. Remember, thumbs up this video. Go subscribe. Click the little bell so you know when I'm going to post a new video. You don't want to miss the next one that's hormones do something else to you. Come along with me. Let's talk about what hormones do that nobody talks about. So yeah, hormones do stuff to you. Definitely. And thank goodness, because that's part of hormone replacement therapy. But there are things they don't do. There are things they do that everyone kind of knows about and talks about. And then there's stuff that people don't tell you, or they don't know, or they really don't want to scare you if they do tell you, so they don't say anything. Well, I'm going to break the silence. So maybe you've heard of some of these things, but I didn't, or it didn't come to me later. The information wasn't available at the time. I was kind of like trying to figure stuff out. So I'll share with you stuff that I wish I'd known. Hormone replacement therapy for me is pretty simple. It's some patches. I put them on twice a week, and I clean the skin off with tape to make sure it'll stick well, and I have no trouble with it. I've been doing that for 3 years now. And I'll tell you what, 3 years goes by a whole lot quicker than you think it does. I remember struggling with the idea that, oh my gosh, this is taking forever. When will it ever happen? Whoa, it happened. It happened like when I wasn't looking. And that's what hormone replacement therapy is like. You're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're wondering, when is anything ever going to happen? Oh my gosh, stuff happened. Holy Moses. And sometimes it happens before you're ready. I couldn't get any real, solid info on how long could I stay boy mode and just be boy mode. And then overnight, one day, boom, instant girl, here I am. That doesn't work that way. I wanted it to, it didn't. So as I traveled along on hormone replacement therapy, I had all the regular stuff, all the physical things that you hear about, some breast growth. Not a lot, and everybody says that they just thought I was chubbier, and and I had kind of the man boobs and stuff, and nobody thought anything of it, and I was getting away with that. It was getting kind of bad. I looked at some pictures and I'm like, oh dear, I was out in public like that, but whatever. And I got by, but there came a point where I couldn't keep just going boy mode. And it wasn't because of my body. Some of it was the way I perceived my body, but that's all in my mind. So my mind forced me to live authentically, not my body. My body just followed along. So the first thing that happened was I got to a point where my mind was struggling with being in boy mode. I just couldn't quite hold it. I didn't want to. And I knew that it was going to be a struggle. My hair was still a bit short. I didn't have a lot of breast growth, but I had enough to wear an A cup. I'd bought a bra from this place called Leading Lady. And you might want to go check that out. Leading Lady has bras with larger sizes for the band. And I think I was in a 40. And then smaller cups, which they had A. And honestly, for what I had, it worked. And I wore that, and it was pretty nice. They weren't padded, but they were molded cups, and it worked. So leading lady, and I remember getting a 15% off coupon. If you hunt around, don't spend the full $38, go get the coupon. Anyway, that was a physical thing, but it really was my mind that made me go full time. I talked with my therapist and we agreed that I needed to figure that out. And it was a requirement. I had to live as a woman for a year before surgery. My surgery is 4 months away. So have I done that? Yeah, I've been full-time way more than a year. And initially it was very scary. Again, all mental. But once I burst through that barrier and started living as a woman, I realized it wasn't as hard as I thought it was. But nobody told me it won't be that hard, just go do it. They all told me, well, you have to, and it's frightening and it's horrible, but you just have to. That's not positive. So I'm telling you, it's okay, it's positive. Just go live authentically. Go be you. Yeah, initially it's awkward and tough and you get through it. But the one thing I was told that I want to share with you is if you're not the deer in the headlights, constantly worried about your surroundings and, hunched in and big eyes and looking around at everybody, you do that, no matter who you are, people are going to stare at you and go, what's wrong with her? She's scared of something. My goodness, what's going on? And so you raise the alert. Don't do that. You just be you. You go to the grocery store, you get whatever you need to get. You go get your hair color, you go get your lipstick, you go get whatever you need. Now, I did all that in boy mode. And that was probably even more strange. So, I'm going to the drugstore and getting lipstick and eyeshadow and mascara and all that stuff. And the girls are probably looking at me like, what's this boy over here doing? What's this gay dude doing? So, who knows, what they thought. I even asked for help, and the girl was, like, so you're getting this for your wife, your daughter? I'm like, no, it's for me. And, well, okay. And then she was fine and positive thereafter. So, I broke through that little barrier. I was honest. I told someone what was really going on, even though my body wasn't following at the time. And it worked. I went over to the salon and got my nails done, which now my nails are off. The nails are off. Just some clear polish. I'm going to school and it's a medical thing and you got to have clear nails. So I went, got them off and some clear polish and I'll be doing that all year. If I go out and do something fun, maybe I'll go get my nails done and then have them off again. So, but priorities, right? So one of the big things that nobody told me about, I busted through the whole living authentically full time. Even though it was difficult. And you can too, I promise you. You just do it and it becomes you. You get used to it. The way your brain works. Nobody told me this. I remember being worried about one big thing. My big worry, and I asked my therapist, I heard that sometimes girls that go on hormones start liking guys. And I'm a little worried about that because I just like girls. Well, he said that he'd seen statistics that was in thirds. 1/3 of trans women just stay whatever they were. If they liked girls to begin with, well, they like girls now. If they liked boys before, well, they like boys now. If they liked both, well, they still like both. So they stay the same. Then, another third flips. If they liked boys before, they might actually like girls. They might go lesbian. They might stay gay. And if they liked girls before, and they were straight as a male, they might actually like boys and still remain straight. So isn't that odd? And I know somebody who this is the case. This person figured, well, after transition, I'll be straight instead of gay. Well, no, the cosmic joke is that person will remain always gay. The universe has spoken. You're gay. So we laugh about it from time to time, but it happens. It's true. So I was really worried, like, what's going to happen? Will I start liking boys? I don't know if I want that, you know? Yeah, I think boys are kind of neat. I don't think I care either. I like girls too. So maybe I did both. I really have no idea, you know? I can tell you that I kind of like firemen. Jason Momoa's kind of cute. I like gay, femme-looking guys. Kind of that Adam Ant, you know, femme-like thing. I like that, you know. There's something there. Nerdy, clean-shaven, you know, there's something to it. I couldn't describe it. It's hard, right? It's tough to describe. And I like my girls too. I like my chubby girls, you know. I like them curvy and nice and soft and pretty. Smart and nerdy. It's kind of some of the same stuff. Goofy, geeky, nerdy girls with glasses. You know, Velma from Scooby-Doo, you know. So, yeah, I still like my Velmas. And I kind of like my nerd boys, you know. It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. Now, the last third, flat, just goes both ways. They just decide, like me, that it's all okay. It's not about the gender, it's about the person. That's how I feel. Love is love, you know. I've not had the experience where some boy has sucked me off my feet and loved me to death, but that's not out of the question. It's the person. I gravitate towards women, so that's where I gravitate. And most likely in my future, I could see that being a real reality, you know. So I could either live my life as a lesbian or I could live my life straight, and it wouldn't matter because I don't just live my identity, I live my heart. And that's kind of what the hormones have done to me. They've opened my mind. They have let me just have an open mind. What my therapist told me was, and actually both therapists I had told me, Jackie, just have an open mind. And the people who I know who have had an open mind are the ones that have the most successful relationships, the ones that are the happiest, the ones that really get through with you as well. All those people that they're going along with you and have an open mind, honestly, they're the best ones. So I will repeat, you should have an open mind, and that hormones might make some differences in the way that you think about relationships, and that's okay. Do I care now? No, not at all. It's not a problem for me. I have no problem being a straight female if I want to be, because I'm female, and I like the things females like. So what's wrong with that? Actually, it would probably be easier in my life. People would notice a straight female, and that would be fine, rather than a lesbian. That's fine. I don't mind being either. Either one's good. The second thing I want to tell you that happens to your brain is the way that you think. Now, this one actually distressed me when it happened. And I'm okay now, but it's something called girl brain, and I hadn't really heard about it. Now, I don't know if it happens to everybody, but I know it happened to me and some people that I know. And yeah, it was spooky at first. I thought there was something wrong with me. As a boy in my former life, when I needed to make decisions, I had two distinct ideas, maybe three, that I wanted to work on to solve a problem. It was simple. It was easy. I could make my decision, focus on that, and do that. Case closed. That's not the way it works anymore. A couple years in, and I noticed I'm having trouble with the decision processes, and as I think, different things are happening. And my mind is a bit foggy. Hormones will give you a bit of a mind fog. You get a bit forgetful, you know. It's kind of like being a teenager again. It's like your brain is reconfiguring itself. And what happened to me was, as I made decisions, I realized there were multitudes of ideas. Not just a couple or three or something. There was 5 or 10, or there's just a lot of ideas, and they kept coming. And it was hard to focus on them. And I was so distressed about the process of all these ideas, I'd get lost in what I was doing. Whether that was brain fog from the HRT or not, I couldn't tell you. But it was hard for me to solidify an idea and come to a conclusion and really get down to business, you know. But I started learning to focus, to see what's going on. It occurred to me that also off the periphery, I had multitudes, you know, a good half a dozen ideas over here, a good half a dozen ideas over here, and they may or may not be related to what I'm trying to make a decision on. Other stuff during the day, down the road, or things that I've already done that I'm rethinking. And if I would just mentally take a look, I'd lose track of what I was doing. And I find that's pretty normal. Girls tend to think about a lot of things all the time. And I think maybe that has something to do with why they have a reputation for being able to multitask. I don't do multitasking super awesome, but I can certainly do more than I used to. And I've cultivated this different thought process. Now I'm perfectly comfortable with it, and I realize I can focus on some ideas. I can subset them, focus on those. Maybe check the periphery, then decide about whether or not to stay on the main pathway or a better idea from the periphery. Then narrow it down, and then make a decision. But I have to do this almost like writing it down on paper. And sometimes I literally get out a notebook and just flowchart it because I have to. But I've learned to do it in my mind. And now I have more choices. I have the ability to be more open-minded about the options. That's a big difference and an incredibly large advantage. I love girl brain. Not just because it's girl brain, but because it really gives me more options than I've ever had before. It gives me a better thought process. It is more work and more effort, but I like that. I can make a choice given more details, more options, more thought, and it turns out better. I have a bit of intuition now as well. I don't know if that's wishful thinking. I don't know if everybody gets that, but I have, and other people have noticed, I've developed a bit of an intuition. And I think that has something to do with thinking about more things. Giving yourself the room to expand your thought process. Maybe it's not some magical thing, but a better thought process that lets you be a bit more intuitive. So girl brain is real positive, and nobody told me about it. Now, if somebody had told me about that early on, I might have been a bit scared of it, kind of like I was scared about the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. I'd also read that in Helen Boyd's book. And Helen Boyd's book, if you haven't read it, go read it. She's got two of them, my husband, Betty, and She's Not the Man I Married. I read She's Not the Man I Married. I love that book. And I remember seeing it in that book as well. And it's one of the reasons I talked to my therapist about it. Now, those are the ones that I wanted to share with you that people don't talk about. Yes, when you go on hormones, you do get breast growth. Yes, there is some distribution of fat that's female oriented. And it takes time. You got to remember, females develop over a dozen years or so. So does a trans woman. It's basically like restarting your puberty. And it doesn't happen in 3 years. It doesn't happen in 6 years. But it might in 10 or 15 or 20. Basically, it's a lifelong process because now I'm on hormones for life. And I notice a little more and a little more and a little more. I was really struggling to wedge myself in my jeans the last few days. And I thought, my gosh, I gained a lot of weight. Well, I weighed myself this morning. I gained 4 pounds. That's not huge, but I've also been hydrating a whole lot more. So I've probably hydrated a pound or 2 in there of just being more hydrated. So I'm struggling wedging my jeans on, just trying to get my butt in there. And I'm talking to my friend about this. I'm like, I've been wearing my fat jeans for a while. And she's like, yeah, I think your hips are bigger. And I'm like, no, my hips aren't bigger. They're not growing. There's nothing going on there. And she comes over and pinches me, pinches me right there. And I'm like, hey, how'd you pinch that? There's something to pinch. There's a handful. What is that? You know, like there's a whole handful there. That wasn't there before. There's like a big old handful of meat going on the sides. Hey, whoa, what's back here? You know, and she's like, you're getting a big old booty, girl. Awesome. Yay. I'm excited. I'm not fitting my jeans, you know. It's like, oh my gosh, my jeans, I gotta wedge and pull them up. Shake my booty into them and shake my hips into them. And it's only a little bit. I'm making it up like it's like I'm massive. No, it's just like there's more there, and yeah, it's like softer and squishy. And I wasn't noticing it because it sneaks up on you day by day by day. So I'd read that the fat distribution and all that kind of stuff would go female. I actually am feeling it, you know. Not a ton, but yeah, I'm nearly 50, and yes, I'm getting fat redistribution. It's not massive. It's not like I have a whole bunch of curves. But I'd love some, and later maybe I'll go to the doctor and get some. But the brain stuff, what's between your ears? That's what nobody would tell me. And when I went to group and I would say, oh my gosh, I'm having this problem with my brain, is when everyone turned around and just looked at me like, fun, isn't it? And I'm like, you bitches, how dare you wait to tell me? That's not fair. That's not fair. You should have said something. And I think it's kind of funny because they've gone through it and they don't want to tell you because they don't talk about that one. So I'm sharing it with you. It's no big deal. You know, once you get to that place, if you're scared about, you know, will I like boys? I don't want to like boys. Well, so what if you do? Because when you get there and you like them, it won't matter. It just won't matter. Because you'll be like, oh, I like boys. Yeah, sure. Or if you're a lesbian, well, yeah, I'm a lesbian. Yeah, I have no problem with that. Sure. It won't matter. It won't make any difference to you at all because you'll have accepted it. The key to getting through this stuff is acceptance, self-acceptance. And that's what I have to tell you. And on the tail of self-acceptance, you need to go get a therapist. So, we've talked about hormones, and you're probably very interested in starting. Go get a therapist first before you do anything else. Don't start hormones until you have a therapist. A good place to start finding one is on transgenderpulse.com. They have a resource page where you can find a therapist in your area, and you can search your area to find those therapists. If you don't find one there, you can go to Psychology Today. They have a good resource with a bit bigger database. Similar deal. And you can ask for references from other therapists that you can find that are somewhat close or even remotely in your area. Maybe they have someone they know who's closer to you. That's where you should start. And remember, keep an open mind. Take care of yourself. Remember, I care about what's going on with you. That's why I've shared today. I need you to know some stuff that I don't think everybody knows. And I want to share it with you. And my one overriding thing that I want you to know is it's going to be okay. You're going to make it. Just take it one day at a time. That's how I got here. 3 years in, 4 months away from surgery. I'm feeling fine in my own skin. My self-acceptance is at a good level because I go to a good therapist. So you should think about the same things. I care that you make it. I truly do. Go leave some comments down there. What I'd like to know is, are there things that have changed for you during HRT that I haven't touched on? Maybe not the physical stuff, but some mental things. Tell me about some of those mental things that you've experienced that maybe nobody knows about. Something that's not super common, but you have experienced for yourself. Take care. I'll check in with you next time, and maybe we'll talk about maybe some of the physical things on the next video. We'll talk about those obvious things and what happens during HRT to you physically, because there's lots of details and maybe some things not everybody knows. Take care of yourself. Remember, if you want to go talk to somebody, there's always transgenderpulse.com, and you can ask them a million questions about how is that? How is HRT? What should I expect? They'll share. Lots of people. They will totally share with you. So go there, ask around, make some friends, Lovely place. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye. So I realized as I was sitting on the exercise bicycle once at the apartment complex and just pedaling away that I was watching this guy walk from his car all the way to his apartment. And I was pedaling and pedaling and pedaling and pedaling. And then I stopped pedaling and I realized I'm tracking him just like I would a girl. Ooh, he's got a nice butt.